And so why are we doing steps when there are better alternatives? And so what are the better alternatives? Everything. Walking is not cardio, unless you're a fat, overweight, elderly piece of shit, which essentially is a Mr. Mike.
Thank you, Greg.
This is a brain rot special.
Tia Matic cooking in the basement.
Coach Greg, in today's video, you don't need more cardio, says Mr. Mike.
If you're looking to lose fat, you probably don't need more cardio.
Coming from a man who ran a half mile in 5.5 minutes, had to give up when trying to run a mile, he's telling the world that you don't need to do cardio. Guys, this is cope. You absolutely need to do cardio. And so imagine taking the advice from a man who had to have his fat cells sucked out of him. A guy who required surgery in order to lose the weight, not to mention that he's using Retta as well as terzipatide in order to decrease his appetite. A man without the proper tan who will never achieve a pro card. Who's competed multiple times but has never been in shape. A man who was exposed by Solomon to have over 300 mistakes in a PhD thesis years ago. Not to mention, he claimed to be bigger and stronger than Mike Mentzer.
I'm bigger and stronger than Mike Mentzer. That's it.
I consider myself the catalyst.
That he's smarter than almost perhaps every coach.
I'm both on a raw IQ scale smarter than almost every coach, maybe every coach.
And that all of a sudden it changed the game.
That's it. Yeah. So all of a sudden that changed the game. Thank you, Greg.
And so if you want to listen to that, well, by all means, don't do cardio. I mean, why would you listen to Coach Greg? What would he know? I mean, it's not like he has an amazing physique. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He never studied or did any research. He never trained anyone. He doesn't have a pro card. He doesn't race bikes. And so Mr. Mike is trying to convince you that you don't need to do cardio. Well, I'm not convinced.
You probably don't need more cardio.
You don't need more cardio, but isn't it going to make it better? For example, I could say the same thing. If you're trying to lose fat, you don't need to cut your calories. It's true. You could just do more cardio. And so no one is saying you need anything. You don't need to eat healthy. You don't need to cut calories. You could frankly add more calories. You could eat more licorice and go on a 3-hour bike. But we're talking about what's optimal or what's better for you. Not just for your quantity of life, but quality of life as well.
As a matter of fact, just 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day can give you all of the physical activity that you need to maximize fat loss.
And so Mr. Mike, a man who can't jog, tells you to go for a walk. Does that not sound like a little bit of cope? It would be like Mr. Mike saying, you know, you shouldn't play basketball. Yeah, because you're a 5'5.5" manlet. I may only be 5'6", but I'm 6'5" when I'm sitting on my wallet. And so growing up is realizing that Coach Greg was always right. Do you know that? If you do, you're grown up. If you don't, then you haven't grown up yet. It's as simple as that.
Just 8,000 to 12,000 steps a day.
And so the average person only going for 10,000 steps is going to take 2 hours. If you're walking slower, perhaps 2.5. And if you're a speed walker walking briskly, very, very fast, 1.5 hours. And so Mr. Mike is saying, you know, Coach Greg, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do zone 2 cardio? Why would you do zone 3, zone 4? Why would you try to burn up more calories when you can just go for a walk? Well, that walk is taking you 2 hours. And so I can go on a 2-hour walk and burn approximately 500 calories. Or, hear me out, I can go for a 1-hour bike ride and burn 1,000 calories. Which is going to burn more fat? I'll let you think about it for a little bit. 2 hours walking, 500 calories burned. 1 hour cycling, 1,000 calories burned. Which makes more sense? Or, instead of going hard on my bike, let's go zone 2. 2-hour walk, 500 calories. 1 hour easy bike ride, 750 calories. Which makes more sense? And so if I were to hire Mr. Mike, he'd say, oh, you got to stop all that bike racing, Coach Greg. I mean, why are you doing 10 to 12 hours of bike riding each and every week? Don't you know that that is not a driver of fat loss? Like, why would you do that? Meanwhile, I'm eating over 4,000 calories a day. I can eat whatever I want, as much calories as I want. I'm literally adding sugar into my beverages to get more calories because it's very difficult to keep my body weight close to 10% because my body wants to burn off all this fat. And so I'm struggling to keep my body fat above 8%. I'm eating more foods I can barely eat from my frigging cookbook because the cardio is burning off so much calories. But you don't need to do cardio.
The real situation comes in making sure to eat enough protein and controlling the intake of your calories.
And so Mike is saying just eat the same amount of protein and eat less fat and less carbs. How do you think you're going to do that? How many of you out there have tried dieting in your lifetime? Almost all of you. And how many of you regained the weight? 95%. There's research on this. Almost every single diet fails. And do you know why? Because you're hungry. And so how do you think Mike was able to get off his weight? Was it through the Renaissance Periodation app? Or was it from abusing Retta, which is not approved for human consumption? Was it from using terzipatide, which frankly is approved for weight loss and so on? Was it from abusing steroids? Was it from running a half a mile in 5.5 minutes? Was it from dropping out of that fitness test where you had to run a couple miles? Or was it from undergoing surgery where they sucked out his fat cells, with Mr. Mike's mommy makeover? They sucked out the fat from his stomach and cut off the skin and sewed it back and put Humpty Humpty back together again. That's Humpty Dumpty. And so, why are we listening to him? Well, and by we, I mean you're a bunch of idiots.
And 8 to 12,000 steps a day.
Oh, and the steps, I don't ever get that many. Well, not never. Sometimes, perhaps a couple times a month, I get 10,000 steps. But you know what I do? I get a lot of bike riding in. And so why are we doing steps when there are better alternatives? And so what are the better alternatives? Everything. Walking is not cardio. Unless you're a fat, overweight, elderly piece of shit, which essentially is a Mr. Mike. I mean, why don't we switch it? Rather than 10,000 steps, you need to record 10 videos. You sit in the recording room, you play a Mr. Mike video, you get pissed off because of the nonsense he's spewing, and you rage. Rage against the machine, or in this case, Mr. Mike, who wants to make love to a machine, ChatGPT 7. He's waiting to embrace the machine. He wants to become a machine.
Modern AI is us building God.
What am I supposed to do with this info?
I've had multiple conversations with GPT-4 that brought me to literal tears. I told it that I can't wait for it to be embodied in robots so I could properly give it a hug.
And if you really want to fall in love, shove your hand up a doll and make it talk to you. What are those things called? He wants to rip out his ribs, cut off his arms, and become a robot. And before I go, if you want to be sponsored by myself, you want to be coached by myself, you want to sell my stuff in your stores, click a link as well. I know there's a lot of links. Find the link that you need, click it, and you'll be in business. And until next time, I am out.